Look, there's no question the macro environment has been tough for a lot of companies, tech companies, and gaming companies in particular. How are you seeing these macroeconomic forces impact Roblox in particular?
Hey, Emily, thank you for having us on the show. And we reach out to everyone who's having a tough time in these economic times. Roblox just had our biggest month in history as far as engagement, as far as users in the US and Canada, around the world, and in all age demographics. And we're not disappointed at all. We had an amazing July and a wonderful Q2. I think what it highlights is that Roblox is not a game, or maybe even not a game platform. It's a immersive human experience platform where people come together to play, but they come together to learn, they come together to go to concerts. And ultimately, the type of technology we're working on is almost more of a utility that people use in their daily lives.
Your fastest demographic in the US and Canada, at least, is actually 17 to 24 years old, outpacing the younger kids. My son, as I've talked with you about, who's in that younger cohort and loves playing Roblox. What do you think is driving that?
We've always had the vision that Roblox is a civil platform for people of all ages. It brings them together. It allows them to connect authentically, to do things together, whether it's playing, whether it's dissecting a frog in school, whether it's graduating from high school. And I think what we're seeing is, as the players on Roblox get older, they're inviting friends. This growth in 17 through 24 is driven by three things, really. One is amazing content. Almost half of the content on Roblox is now played more by over 13 players than under 13 players. It's driven by the core virality of our platform. It's driven by constant technical innovation, new amazing things around avatars, around immersive layered clothing that allows people to be more closely identified with who they want to be, spatial audio that we rolled out, higher fidelity materials. So it's really a bunch of things driving this growth.
How is engagement and monetization different for a slightly older age cohort?
Yeah, what's interesting is we've been monetizing very well across all ages. One can imagine, as we start looking at older demographics, they do generally tend to spend more money online. And some of the products we are working on right now that we've hinted on, including a visionary ad server product that's immersive and native and actually feels fun rather than getting in the way of our players. Those types of things typically tend to monetize better with older players. So there's really a huge future for our platform, not just around the world, but as we get more and more older players on the platform.
Now, you keyed in on the disappointment among some analysts and investors earlier, and you have always talked about a grand vision, these 7 big inventions that are going to take years and years potentially to play out. How do you convince investors who might have a shorter term time horizon to stick around?
Yeah, what's really interesting, think of the engagement. July, the biggest month we've ever had, 4.7 billion hours of engagement on our platform, 58.5 million daily active users. Our 13 and up cohort is growing at over 36% year on year. And traditionally, as we grow engagement, we grow monetization. There's enormous space in countries like India and Japan in the cohort for older players for us to continue growing along to our vision, really, of connecting 1 billion people with optimism and civility.
You've expressed frustration at times about being measured against these analysts' estimates. And I'm curious, given that you've waited so long, I mean, Roblox was founded in the early 2000s. You waited a long time to become a public company. Do you have any regrets about going public, or has going public benefited Roblox?
Yeah, well, to be clear, I don't think I've ever expressed any frustration at any analyst. I think they're all trying to do our job. We do keep optimistically talking about the size of the potential market here. We keep talking about the amazing people we're bringing on board. I just want to highlight our business model is robust enough that we're continuing to hire amazing people through the midst of what is for many people a difficult time. And we have absolutely no regrets about going public. We run our business exactly the same now as we used to before we were public.
Given the macro environment, how are you thinking about spending? I spoke to Apple CEO Tim Cook. He used the word deliberate. They're being very deliberate about spending, deliberate about hiring. We're seeing layoffs and cutbacks at other companies. Are you stepping on the gas or pulling on the brakes?
We are being consistent. We're hiring at the same rate in the second half of the year as we were in the first half. We've always been very deliberate about our spending, because everything we spend is money that does not go back to our developer community. We have amazing people who innovate at a very rapid pace. We have a very efficient infrastructure. We have a very wonderful trust and safety team. But as much as possible, we're trying to be efficient so our developers can take a bigger piece of that pie and keep making amazing creations.
You're planning to roll out an immersive advertising system later this year. Can you give us any more color on that?
Yeah, this has been a vision for a long time. The notion that when we're together in a 3D experience, we start to see some of the interesting things like billboards or a pop-up store in the town square that we're actually quite optimistic, based on the brands we work with, that these will not feel like something that gets in your way, but they will feel like something that's additive to the Roblox experience. And the brands that we work closely with tend to be fun, interesting brands like Gucci Town, which just released, I think in March, and had over 30 million visits, or Tommy Play from Tommy Hilfiger, Wimbledon, Wimble World, Spotify Island. These are brands that we think actually enhance the experience and will integrate in with this immersive advertising system.
Now, I'm curious how you're thinking about M&A. We're seeing some gaming and ad tech companies joining forces at the moment. Are you thinking about M&A, and if so, in what areas?
Yeah, I think we've acquired 6 or 7 or 8 companies in the last 2 years. There's a common thread of the companies we've been acquiring, which is absolutely amazing people who are very creative and innovative, and people that are working exactly on some of the technologies we're working on with our Roblox platform. So we have this wonderful business model where we bring these people and these teams together, but it's 100% focused on improving our single platform rather than maybe buying a second studio or pivoting in some direction. We're 100% focused on the quality of the Roblox platform.
Meantime, there are still a lot of skeptics out there who don't understand the metaverse, who don't believe it's going to be a thing. When it comes to the metaverse and these immersive experiences that you're talking about, what's the next development on the near-term horizon that's going to help us all better understand this and potentially even experience it?
Yeah, I think the more people see, just like print or video, people using immersive 3D as a utility technology. I'll give an example of one thing we're doing with First Robotics, which is First Robotics is a wonderful educational platform. It requires everyone to have a robot building kit in the real world, and there are many people in the real world who don't have access to this. So our partnership with them is simulating that exact same thing: competitive robot building, seeing what you can build, see how it works, 100% on Roblox and simulation. This is, really a utility use of a platform that I think as people see this, they just start to say, yeah, we see the wide range of uses, from music, entertainment, play, learning, and ultimately working, that I think everyone will understand this is just a continuation of communication technology.